It's Kate.
And Oliver
Hudson.
Host of the new podcast, Sibling Revelry. That's right.
We started this show because, you know what? No one talks about siblings and that dynamic.
The siblings, they know each other better than anybody.
Yes.
You know.
Listen to Sibling Revelry on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Jacob Goldstein. I used to host Planet Money. Now I'm starting a new show. It's called What's Your Problem? Every week on What's Your Problem, entrepreneurs and engineers describe the future they're going to build once they solve a few problems. I'm talking to people trying to figure out how to do things that no one on the planet knows how to do, from creating a drone delivery business to building a car that can truly drive itself. Listen to What's Your Problem on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Episode 269, Listener Special, Your Burning Questions.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we are sharing your answers to your burning questions.
Hot,
that's sizzling how hot they are.
Questions.
Yes. Some of them hotter than others.
Ooh, some of them burning, some smoldering.
Yes. But first, this episode is brought to you by the 1 week spending makeover. Oh, so soon, so close. If you have not signed up yet, what are you waiting for? January 2nd through 6th, so the first week of the year, Monday to Friday, we are hosting a free 1 week challenge where I will be hosting daily live lessons. Jill and I will be live with you on the Wednesday night of that week for an extended lesson. You're going to get these in an exclusive pop-up Facebook community. You're also going to get them in your inbox if you're not on Facebook. So this is just the place to be the first week of January if you want to get your spending transformed, made over, in control, whatever you define that as. So the goal of this challenge is we're going to be going through the week. In 5 days or less, you're going to have a clear picture of your past spending, a foundation for values-based spending, and a plan to improve and implement your spending through 2023 in a way that makes sense for you, that makes you happy, not guilty. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be prizes, free PDF downloads, so much more. So please join us, frugalfriendspodcast.com/makeover.
I love it. This sounds so fun. It's making me excited. It's one of the things I enjoy doing in the new year is, well, reflecting back on a lot of things, but making a plan. Lots of people love it, but it's something I look forward to doing. It's kind of one of those activities that I get a drink that I enjoy and I really carve out time to take a look at it, plan ahead, write things down. For anyone who loves stickers and highlighters, this is your time. If you just like having a good, clear plan that's simple, this is also for you. So, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, can't wait.
It's our gift to you as our last episode before Christmas. This is our gift to you. And another gift that we have for you. So we do a listener special episode every year for the past 4 years, I think. And my gift to you is for you to go back and listen to at least the beginning of episode 140, which was our listener special from 2020. It is hands down the episode I am most proud of in our entire 269. We haven't even finished this episode yet, but I already know I'm not going to be as proud of it as I am episode 140.
These are big statements. And I think you even went so far before we were recording to say it's the thing you're most proud of in your entire career, not just this. Like, I think you feel
I think it is
peaked.
The best thing I've done in my entire career. And I need everyone to just take a minute, go back to episode 140, our listener special on Christmas Day of 2020. So it's Christmas and it's also 2020. And so it's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird, but we just re-listened to it ourselves and we were dying of laughter. That's essentially what it is.
Dying.
And you definitely have to be like a slight nerd to understand it.
Well, Jill is not a nerd and she still appreciated it. Maybe because she participated in it.
Yeah.
But it is...
I appreciated it now. I didn't totally know what it was. So if you fall in that camp and even after listening, you don't totally get it, send us a message. We'll explain.
But if you're I'm just going to give it away. If you are a slight Star Wars nerd, then you definitely have to go back and listen. Just even slight.
Please do it just for Jen's sake.
For me.
Jen almost made that introduction, the introduction of this episode. Thankfully, it doesn't work. The audio was too specific for 2020.
Yeah.
But the compromise is highlighting it here so that you go back and listen so that we didn't have to replay it during
I've never pushed you to go back and listen to an episode as strongly as I've pushed you today. Episode 140, listener special from 2020 on Christmas Day. Okay. I guess we'll move on.
I guess so.
So we have 6 questions that we're going to answer. And so 3 for Jen, 3 for Jill. And we're just going to go at it. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Fire away.
All right. We will get the most specific one and the most I'm sorry one out of the way first.
Okay.
All right. So this question, and I did not have Goldie put names in this outline, and so I'm sorry. This question comes from one of our listeners who has a name. And they say, I am maintaining a universal life, formerly term policy on my ex-husband. And the value is $200,000, costing $1,032 per month. He's 70 in average health. Is this wise? I don't think I would just save the money if it were not going to this policy. Thanks. All right. So I know you asked about insurance, but the answer that you need is not about insurance. This is a type of question that can only be answered by a fiduciary financial advisor who is intimately familiar with your financial situation. Insurance is very nuanced. It is, especially universal life policies, are quite complex. And they're one of the most complex. I've written about insurance many times, and still, whenever I research universal life policies, I leave with more questions than answers. And so this is not something somebody on a podcast really should be able to answer for you. Like I will not and be able to answer this for you. And if somebody says they can, you should question that advice. So let's give a little brief overview of when you need to consult a financial advisor, a professional, because we say over and over again, you don't need a financial planner or a financial advisor to invest for retirement. You don't need to trust your money to someone else and pay them a fee to do something you can do on your own. You absolutely do not. Technology has made it so easy and so affordable for you to invest very broadly and very well on your own and save a lot of money doing it. But there are times when you need a financial planner and specifically a fiduciary, and I'll talk about that after I give these situations. So the main situations where you definitely bare minimum need a financial planner. It can be beyond this, but the bare minimums are when you are nearing retirement, because you need somebody to give you advice on where you're at, withdrawal strategies, tax liability, stuff like that. So when you're nearing retirement or about to withdraw, if you inherit or receive a large sum of money, so maybe you inherit from a relative or you receive it, maybe you've sold a business, something like that, that is when you should consult a financial advisor. If you get married later in life and both of you are bringing assets to the table, so like homes, investments, businesses, stuff like that, then it's definitely, they can advise you in a prenup, which is very advisable, which is very good idea. So that's a good time. During a divorce, which the asker said this was for an ex-husband. So during the divorce would have been a great time to seek this help and get that answer. It's never too late, obviously, but this would definitely be something when you're no longer reliant on that person's income, or maybe you are receiving alimony. There are things to figure out there. So during a divorce, and then last, when you lose a spouse, figuring out all the financial things for your spouse while you're also going through grief. There's too much to think about. Bringing in a neutral third party will be your saving grace in that time. So basically retirement, getting a large sum of money, getting married with assets, divorcing with assets, or losing a spouse. And those are kind of the bare minimums. Those are bare minimums. The list can go on. You can use a financial advisor at any time, but these are the bare minimums to seek one out.
That's a really helpful distinction, because I think I often hear you don't need a financial advisor to invest. And I've taken that advice and kind of put it across the board. Like, you can figure anything out. And we could, but there are specific times when it is advisable to seek someone who's an expert in that area. And these are them. So just a helpful guide for me, at least, hopefully for the listeners as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the type of financial advisor is also really important, because a lot of people can call themselves financial planners or financial advisors. And what a lot of them can be are salespeople of certain financial products. And you find that a lot in an insurance sector. They're selling insurance as an investment when they make a commission on it. And that's how a lot of people, like, I'm not going to say that's how you got into it, but that's how a lot of people get into universal life policies. So you want to be sure that if you get into whatever type of insurance you get into is the right insurance for you, whether it's universal, whole, term, whatever. And the way you do that is that you make sure that your financial planner is a fiduciary, has a fiduciary responsibility to you. And basically that's a legal obligation where they get paid from you, not from any financial services. So their recommendations to you have no standing on their payment. So if they recommend one thing over the other, you are sure it's not because they're getting a kickback from that service. And that's the only way you can do it, is that they have to have a legal obligation, not just say like, oh yeah, we're like fiduciaries. No. If you want to be sure you're getting someone with a legal obligation to never take kickbacks from a financial service, go with a certified financial planner, a CFP, and you'll see that designation after their name. They're very proud of it. They won't hide it from you. You'll just see CFP and you'll know that they have that responsibility. But the caveat is that costs money. You will pay. And that's another thing. If you're getting advice from someone and you didn't pay for it, consider how they're getting paid. Who is footing the bill for your time? And it's probably the kickback they're getting for whatever they're recommending to you. So
there is no such thing as free. They
want to get paid, and you want to pay them for their advice. But you don't need to pay them every month. You don't need to keep them on retainer. You just want to pay them when you're in these big life changes and really need them. That's when it's really worth paying for this advice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next burning question. This person says, I'm having a hard time discovering a decent side hustle that's worth it and not a huge pain. Any advice? Okay, I'm going to take this one.
You are a side hustle queen, Jill.
Oh, wow. That title. I've done a lot. Can't say I've made a lot of money on all of those things that I did, but I did learn along the way. So first of all, I want to zero in on something that's worth it and not a huge pain. And first and foremost, really identify capacities for anybody. Like, where are you at right now? And how big of a desire do you have and or need for a side hustle? Like, that's pretty indicative to me. If it's just like, I need some extra cash, but I don't have any extra time. I don't want it to be a pain. I don't know what's worth it. That might be an indicator that you don't have maybe the capacity or extra time to be able to give to any type of side hustle. And so that might be a situation where you'd want to consider, is there a possibility of making more just within your current job? Is it better to consider asking for a raise, negotiating your salary, negotiating maybe more flexibility? Do you just need more vacation time? Are you just tired? Do you need to take some time off and then circle back to this idea? If that's not the case, that's not your situation, it turns out I do have capacity for this, I just really do want it to be worth my while, then from there, I would consider what's in your hand. What excites you? These are some questions that you could be asking yourself of, what do I already have at my disposal? I think it's definitely not going to be worth our time and energy if we have to reinvent the wheel or invest a ton of time and energy or money into some version of a startup. So considering, what do I already have on hand that could bring in more money? This might mean something completely separate from maybe your traditional 9-to-5. Maybe it's adjacent to that. I know for me, I've shared a lot that it's important for me to find something that feels separate from the work that I do. I didn't want my side hustles to be the same type of thing because that felt very draining or exhausting. Whereas for others, I feel like I have so much more to give and so much knowledge that I see this a lot, just for example, with teachers. Like, I do my 9-to-5 teacher thing, or 7 to 3. You guys get up super early, mad respect. And then let me create things to teach other teachers on how to do lesson plans or this and that. And that could be the side hustle. So determine what's going to be best for you. Does it need to be different? Can it be the same? And another good question to ask that could point you in the right direction is, what's life-giving? What excites me? What sounds fun? Could there be anything around that could bring in money? So for instance, for Eric and I, hosting is exciting. Hosting people is fun for me. And so we are turning a portion of our house into an Airbnb that's going to be a bit of a side hustle, a bit of some extra income that I hope doesn't take a ton of extra time and energy for me. It'll be the turning over of the room and answering questions here and there, but certainly will not be a full-time job. And that's exciting for me. That's something of, what do I have in my hand? What do I have at my disposal? I have a spare room. Other side hustles for Eric and I have been DJing. That was because we already had music equipment and it was something that my husband and I could do together on the weekends. It didn't pull us apart to be going and doing those things. For others, it's animals and pets and taking care of other people's pets and taking them for a walk, or babysitting, dog sitting the pets. babysitting. Quote unquote babysitting, babies. Dog sitting. Or maybe it's babysitting. Maybe you love babies, or maybe it's house sitting. There's tons of different things that we can do, but those are the questions I would ask. What do I have at my disposal? What kind of time do I have? What kind of money do I want to make? What excites me? What do I have capacity for? There will be greater longevity for us in the things that feel life-giving versus the things that feel draining.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Amen. And the only thing I would add to that is follow the money. So what are the things that you would pay for? What are the things you have paid for? And don't do things that just because you love them, you would never pay for yourself, or other people you know would not pay for them.
Or where the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember I loved and still do love going to the thrift store, and I've had many times where I'm like, I should flip these clothes that I see. But I know for me, the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze because I got to be hunting most weekends, if not more than that each week. I've got to be posting the things online. I got to be packaging and shipping and just measure the juice and the squeeze.
The juice and the squeeze. Mm-hmm. All right. So we have another side hustle question. How do you get these freelance jobs, like freelance writing? I feel like I'd be great at proofreading, but 9,000 people are also doing that.
Very specific number.
I know, right? I actually love this one because I had a conversation with a friend who is a ghostwriter, and she is actually getting out of ghostwriting to do proofreading because there is so much work. Wow. In the industry. Yeah. So it's funny that you would say that. And I think it's because there is a lot of people going for low-level jobs, whereas my friend, who the ghostwriter, she's looking for like traditionally published and self-published like books. So people that have money. Again, it's following the money. Where do people have income, like the budget to pay writers, to pay proofreaders? And I think so many people are going to bloggers and low income just because they see so many of them. And those people don't have the budget for proofreading and editing and writing or virtual assisting. Virtual assisting is probably the easiest thing to get into. That's the first hire every online business makes. So these jobs are out there. They are absolutely out there. You just kind of have to, keep your eyes on where the money's coming from and start at the bottom. So I look at freelancing kind of like an on-ramp to the highway. You have to start going slow. And you start at these like sites that everyone tells you not to go on, like the Upwork and stuff like that, where the jobs are easy to find so that you can get a portfolio. And you start with seeking out other writers in groups on Facebook and off Facebook. And sometimes you have to pay for a membership to a community that has other writers and proofreaders so that you can start to build a community. So you do this and it's a slow build, and then eventually you get on the highway and you've built a portfolio that you can show to people that have higher budgets to pay writers and that actually have need for proofreaders or needs for editors or some kind of executive assistants. We have Goldie, our podcast manager, is strictly on our podcast. So there's even like niches where you can take it niched down to what you want to be doing. So, but you have to go where the jobs are plenty, but not well paying at first, to do some of this portfolio building. And then just you talk to people, maybe moderators in different groups are really good people to form connections with. I attend FinCon, which is a financial media conference every year. And that is where I've gotten the most work from and the most connections. So going in person to conferences, stuff like that. That's where the people with budgets go to find writers is conferences and different paid communities where people teach this stuff. I think the lower paying ones will go to the communities because they know the writers and proofreaders are just starting out, but conferences are where the people with larger budgets go. And when you go into these places already knowing some people, they can connect you to other good people. So it really is building that speed to get onto the highway, making the connections, building the portfolio. And you just got to start small, but really hustle. But these jobs are out there. And you don't know what you don't know until you talk to people who know what you don't know. And that's why community, I think, is so big with freelancing, especially finding a community that's collaborative over competitive. Like find those people because everyone's going to have like proofreaders. My friend has stuff that she loves to read and stuff that she doesn't love to read. If she don't want to read it, she's going to hand it off to somebody else who might like it more. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's finding that collaborative community to build on.
It's reminding me of our interview that we just did recently with Mandy about negotiating, just going to conferences. I mean, that's not just good for freelancers. That's good for anybody looking to expand their skill set, break into a new field, or expand their abilities, their network, their connections within the field that you're already in. I mean, that tip stood out to me as a big one for the ability to kind of negotiate, find better, break into maybe certain niches that you're hoping to break into. So yeah, if you've not listened to that episode, go back to 263 as well. If you're thinking about how can I make more.
Yeah. And the episode 257, the freelance writing with Miranda Marquardt, she gives a lot of tips on writing, but they can also be used with editing and proofreading. Where there is a freelance writing position, there's an editing position. And then I'm just hearing from my friend that there's a lot of necessity for proofreaders in the book industry. So definitely something you have to work up to. You're going to have to put in your time, probably editing, writing, stuff like that before you can get to the proofreading, but it's out there. There may be 9,000 people doing it, but not all 9,000 are willing to put in the work to get the good stuff.
Yeah, on-ramp it.
Yeah.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So, how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
Discover the heartwarming and hilarious world of sibling connections on Sibling Revelry with Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson.
You might be asking yourself, what is sibling revelry?
Yeah, well, we just made it up.
They'll have some laughs and maybe inspire some people along the way with universal tales of what it's like to grow up with brothers and sisters.
We're full-blood siblings, the only full-blood sibling.
In our family. Well, not in the world. I mean...
No, in the whole world. That's just it. Like, no one...
Dive into family tales and explore the human mind with guests like Joel and Benji Madden.
And it's fun because we've decided to open it up, to really like all kinds of different siblings. And it's going to be an awesome season.
It's more than a podcast. It's a celebration of the ties that bind us. Listen to Sibling Revelry with Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, this next question I'm answering, but the question could be for you too, Jen.
Yeah.
How are renovations going and how is your budget looking? This is a hot seat of
How much
burning
are you
questions.
spending?
Ooh, I'm feeling spendy. Might renovate. Well, my answer is renovations are still going and I am still budgeting. So Eric and I bought this house and moved in August of 2020. Is it almost 2023 or is it 2023 yet?
It's almost 2023.
Almost 2023. And we're still just chugging along. I'm not certain that we're ever truly going to be done with renovations. I think there's always going to be something we're working on. But the big things, when we're going to give ourselves a rest, is once the Airbnb is done and the kitchen is done. There's still so much more to do, but we're going to press the pause button hard. And here we go. I'm sure we're going to have to follow up at some point, but I am hopeful that both of those things will be done. Do I go risky with my estimate or conservative with my estimate?
Go.
I'm going to hope both those things are done by May. Yeah. I'm going to say May 2023. I'm hopeful that the Airbnb will be done by February. You can't see me, but I'm crossing my fingers. And then I'll give it till May for the kitchen. And budgeting wise, we're looking good. Of course, it's shifted. It has shifted and changed all over the map. Some things have cost more. Some things have cost less. We've advocated in different places that I didn't originally anticipate. So who knows if the budget looks anywhere close to what it did when we started out in 2020? Probably not. But we have been able to cash flow it. And I think that's the biggest thing. There was a moment when we were looking at potentially needing to take out like a no interest loan on cabinetry for the kitchen. But I think we found a solution where that won't be the case. So that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've been going back and forth with cabinets quite intensely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's difficult. I mean, prices on everything have gone up massively. And the style that I am wanting for our kitchen is just not only a little bit difficult to find right now, but really difficult to find in our price range. And so, yeah, we've been pushing on all of the doors between friends and friends of friends and this website and this in-person cabinetry place and Lowe's and Home Depot. And it just we've been all over the place. And I am exhausted. I'm worn down. Maybe the kitchen will look nothing like I ever imagined it would look. But I think we found a solution. And hopefully it'll happen by May.
Yeah. Yeah. I am in a similar spot.
Yeah. Which part's similar? Taking longer, tired. More expensive, tired.
Yeah. So actually, like I knew going in that nothing is as it seems in budget, in renovations.
That's a good thing to know.
So I was like, I'm not going to make a budget. I am going to I'm going to plan with intention every cost. Like, I'm going to do what I can to keep every cost low. I know this portion is a rental that we're currently working on, but then we have our entire house. And that's probably where I'll stick closer to the budget. It's easier to work on a place that, you won't be using most of the time. But yeah, so we never created a budget. We've just been very conscious of what we're spending and the quality of it. We go for not the cheapest, but the second.
Yeah.
That's pretty much our rule.
That is a nice rule.
Don't go for the cheapest.
Yeah.
Unless you get free flooring from the dump and from contractors trying to throw it away at the dump, and you save it from the dump and put it in your rental.
I love that happened for you guys.
Me too.
And it was like the perfect amount of flooring.
When I say we had one full plank left, and some like remnant,
like no
cuts.
Wiggle room, but it worked.
Yeah.
You guys made it work.
Yeah.
I do like to keep track just to know, and I feel like it helps to inform me for any potential future projects and to be able to look back and have a clear number of what did that cost us to do. So I do, me and my spreadsheets. I do have a spreadsheet for this. It's not super complicated, but like with a column of what are the things that I think we're going to have to buy, how much do I anticipate that's going to cost, and then how much do I actually spend on it. And as with anything, we keep running into, like we didn't factor in the cost of a sill. We didn't factor in the hardware for XYZ. And so my miscellaneous line item is massive. It's always $1,500 of miscellaneous. Just factor that in.
Yeah.
But so that's been kind of fun for me to keep track along the way. And then kind of does give me a guideline of, I don't want to exceed this amount on a vanity. I don't want to exceed this amount on this appliance, that kind of a thing. So yeah. And then I'll be able to know at the very end, how much did the Airbnb truly cost me?
Yeah. I'm just saving receipts and then I'll tally it all up at the end.
Yeah.
Because I'll look. So like, yeah, we're doing midterm rental and I've been looking at furniture and some of it has been easy to procure at a reasonable price. And some of it I have gotten new because it's been harder to procure.
Yeah.
So that has been just a sacrifice I've had to make. Travis has decided he hates putting his clothes away, so he's going to give his dresser to the rental.
Hey, problem solved.
And, I'm like, well, it saves me $100 or possibly more. So dressers are very hard to procure.
That's the tough thing about this day and age too. Not only has new stuff gone up in price, but used stuff has too, where sometimes by the time you coordinate and drive 30 to 40 minutes to get an item,
it's gone.
It's gone, but also you might not actually be saving that much. People want so much money for even their used stuff. So that's been a bit of a pain.
I'm all about saving something from a landfill.
Yeah.
But at the expense of a lot of headache and time, no. So that, and we started pretty early. I shared my crazy story of getting the coffee table on Facebook Marketplace, and it was being sold from my old house.
Yes, that was fun.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but we'll see at the end what it cost us, what the whole thing cost us.
Because we feel like revealing.
Oh, yeah. We absolutely will. We absolutely will do that episode next year, is the culmination of our renovations and what we would do differently and what we would do the same.
Okay. That's fun. Okay. I'll prepare in my mind.
All right.
This next question is for sure for you.
Oh, God. Jen, are you a Disney adult? And what does it cost you?
Your soul. It has cost her soul.
It has not cost me my soul.
She is wearing a Disney Princess 10K athletic shirt now, this very second.
Okay, yeah. I am wearing a Run Disney shirt from 2018 right now. Anyways.
And that cost me $10,000.
No. I'm low key. And I think it's because I went to college in Orlando, had friends that worked at the theme parks. I worked at a bar in a Good Neighbor hotel. So we got free tickets to the parks as a Good Neighbor hotel. So I've been around Disney my whole life, really close in college, but I was never a Disney person. I always enjoyed it, always down to go, but I was never a Disney person.
And now what are you?
I would say I'm a low-key Disney adult, and it's because of becoming a mom and having a child who loves Mickey Mouse and all of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse characters, and just thinking it's so cute. So that was probably the catalyst. And I started running Disney races in 2014. Yeah, 2014 is when I started running Disney races. And there's just no comparison between a Disney half marathon and a half marathon anywhere else. I mean, they're fun. The only one that could compare was in St. Augustine. There's a 15K called the Gate River Run. That is a fun 9 miles. Very fun. And that's the only one that could compare to how fun the Disney races are. And so combined with running and Disney, and now at 33 years old, and I bought Minnie Mouse ears for the first time.
Yes.
I own 2 pairs.
Yep. I put one of those pairs on.
Because I figured if I'm going to wear these, I'm not going to be alone. I'm going to make somebody else with me wear them. And that's why I got 2.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to do it alone.
Yeah. From my perspective, your low-key Disney adult, it is reasonable.
Yeah. I'm not somebody signing up for every Run Disney race. I know that's a very common thing to have a perfect season where you're spending probably about $250 to $300 or more just on races, plus hotels for each time for races. I am not an annual pass holder, but we do when they had Florida resident specials every January. We always would get those. Not this year because they only were allowed to use on weekdays. So we would spend money on those, and I have a Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah.
So that is what it costs me.
It costs you the run that you choose to do, about once a year?
Yeah.
Or are you every other year?
Probably every other year now that I have a kid. I do want to do Wine and Dine as kind of like my comeback after I give birth, because it's like a good amount of time, I think, between. So like I give birth in March and November is when the race is. So I feel like that's a good amount of time.
And that's that's a 10K.
That'll be a half marathon.
Half marathon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jill ran with me a few times and didn't enjoy it.
I did do the running club with you. And that was mostly because when we came back to the location of the running club where they sell running shoes, they had a keg.
Yes.
That you could get free beer from.
Yes.
So I did that. But the thing about long runs is that you have to be okay with your toes getting shredded and like maybe your toenails falling off and peeing yourself.
A half marathon. No, none of that with a half marathon. That's like full marathon stuff.
I want to keep my feet and I don't want to pee myself. And that's just
don't get
my
pregnant.
standard.
Don't ever get pregnant. Yeah, because you do that not on a run. I do that on a daily basis. On a daily basis.
And you know, you are a Disney person living an hour and a half from Disney.
Yeah.
So like some of these things don't cost you airfare or lodging. So it can really make sense and be super cost effective as day trips or little weekend activities.
Yeah. And there are a lot of ways to do Disney that don't involve like expensive parties and like stuff. So yeah, there are a lot of options. If you want a Disney episode on how to save money on Disney, just at me on Instagram.
People probably would want that.
At Modern Frugality. We would bring on an expert for that, because I got a few YouTubers in mind I would bring on.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, let me know if you want that.
And then
we'll do it in the new year.
Okay. All right. Final question. I'll take this one because it's directed to me. How many weekends were you at home versus traveling this year? Dun, dun, dun. Someone paid attention to my stats from the previous year. I did better this year.
I see that.
So this isn't exactly answering the specifics of this question, but after tallying things up, so this year, rather than just looking at weekends, I looked at how many days out of the year were we home by ourselves versus traveling or hosting. So 198 days of this year we were traveling or hosting someone versus 167 days we were home. So that means 54% of the year we were traveling or hosting, which came out to 17 weekends home with no guests, which was far better. I think, what was it, the year before or the year before that? It was 5 weekends.
I didn't even see you last
home
year.
With no guests. So 17, that we did better. Just a little over half the year we were traveling or hosting. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
When I say we're going to do better and people are like, yeah, we'll see. And part of it is, I don't think we still haven't seen you or others in this area as much as we would have liked. That now has to do with renovations, because those 17 weekends we were hitting renovations harder. But it does make me believe that when the renovations are done, I will get percentages better every year.
Yes.
Of giving my time, money, and attention to where I actually want it to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know what else is great? The Bill of the Week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the Bill of the Week.
All right. So for this listener special, instead of playing a special listener bill, we're going to share our bills. Because we so very rarely get to do that.
And yet we all know Jen's bill. Her forever and always bill.
I have two.
Okay.
And yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, I'll start. Well, first, my bill of life is Bill Curtis. The voice of Anchorman, the announcer on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and before that, critically acclaimed actual news anchor. He actually did stuff before.
It is cool.
Anchorman and Wait,
I'm coming around.
Very cool. I listened to caught up on some Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me over the weekend. He always has the best Bill puns. Every episode, he's got one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
On Halloween, it's Happy Billoween. That's not a good one.
That's not a good one.
I'm sorry, but that's just one of the ones I was catching up on this weekend.
Okay.
They're much better than that. Anyways, and
what's your second one?
I have appreciated everyone who, we have a listener who lives near Bill Curtis. We have a listener who sent us a Valentine that said, "Bill, you be my Valentine," with Bill Curtis' face on. I get these emails and they light up my life.
Wow.
They light me up. Anytime somebody sends me something Bill Curtis related.
Wow.
And so if you have done it in the past, know that you have been a small part of joy in my life.
You can request a Disney episode and send a Bill pun to Jen, and she will be elated.
Yes. So my actual bill that I will share that is new is the bill I'm about to pay someone to tile my bathrooms.
Ooh, this is good.
I don't know how the quality is going to be. And it's just hard to get people to pay people. It's hard to find people to pay to do work for you.
I know.
And so normally I'm all about getting multiple estimates, taking the second to cheapest.
Yeah.
And I have not had that option.
Yeah.
I'm really I have three of the three. I've probably called 6 or 7 places, gotten 3 to come over to my house, and have gotten 1 estimate from that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And finding reliable contractors can be very difficult and stressful. And then when you have a timeline of a baby coming, it is kind of okay, well then just whoever's reliable, I'll take.
Whoever will come with tile.
Yeah.
Is hired.
Yes.
So that is a bill I am about to be happy to pay.
Yeah.
To take my money.
Ooh, I'm excited to see that happen for you.
Yeah, the tile, it's going to be very similar to the tile that's in your room right now. You can see it.
The faux stone.
Yeah.
That has fiberglass all through it.
Inspiration from it. And I think that's what we're going to use.
The bane of my existence.
Yeah.
But it's the reason we got this house. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Everyone else looked at this fake stone and said, no way, that's too much work. And we said, okay, we'll do it because it's not a lot of money.
That's so true.
All right. My bill, I don't know if I've said this before. I probably have. It's a nugget hidden somewhere. But I realized I am a bill. in some regard.
Expound.
So, a nickname of mine growing up was Willie.
Why?
I think it was this whole kind of combination that my grandmother primarily called me. I call her Gimba, so we just love to make up names. The whole thing was I was called Silly Jilly Willie from Philly. Sometimes then it was Jilly Willie, and then that just turned into Willie. My grandmother called me Willie for my whole life. And Willie is
Bill.
Short for Bill.
Mm-hmm.
No, William. Bill short for William. Whatever. They're all interchangeable. So here I am, me and my Willie.
Oh, gosh.
But also another bill, which coincides with just a fun fact because it's a listener special and we're shooting the breeze over here. I am about to pay a bill tomorrow that will be the first time ever that I have paid a bill like this. And it is getting a haircut at a salon.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Never have I ever
for you.
paid to get my hair cut at a salon. This is Jill speaking. I'm 33 years old. Never have I ever paid to get my hair cut at a salon.
And never have I ever let somebody that doesn't have a degree certificate in cosmetology touch my hair.
Yeah. Well, see, and those are some of my caveats is I have paid people who have a degree in cosmetology to cut my hair and a license and all that. It's just like been in their home or at my home. I've never done it at a salon. It's always like a friend who will do it. And back when throwing them $25, $30 was a reasonable amount, I would do that. And now it's not a reasonable amount. I will probably pay over $60. But you know what? Yeah. I haven't cut my hair in over a year. And I don't know anybody who's going to come to my home and cut my hair. So I'm going to go pay.
Yeah. You've got mermaid hair.
What are you gonna call my hair when it doesn't look like a mermaid anymore?
I don't know. It's still great.
Every time she sees me, she just calls it mermaid hair.
Well, because you know how like in old pictures of mermaids, they didn't wear tops; they just covered covered their bosoms with their hair.
It is long enough for that. I do that sometimes.
Yeah,
when I don't have a top.
That's what mermaid hair
is.
Not a recommendation or a suggestion. I'm just saying that's what I think of when I see really long hair.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We both had two bills that we've been piling up there. If you listening have a bill that you want to submit, if you realize you are a bill or you've got a bill you are excited to pay, you're trying to pay someone to tile your bathroom, or you've never paid this type of bill before.
Or it's Bill Curtis.
Or it's Bill Curtis.
Can we just get a bunch of people to call in Bill Curtis?
Oh my gosh.
And maybe he'll hear it and he will call in himself.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, so visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill. Keep it vague for us. Leave us your bill.
Discover the heartwarming and hilarious world of sibling connections on Sibling Revelry with Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson.
You might be asking yourself, what is sibling revelry?
Yeah, well, we just made it up.
They'll have some laughs and maybe inspire some people along the way with universal tales of what it's like to grow up with brothers and sisters.
We're full-blood siblings, the only full-blood sibling.
In our family. Well, not in the world. I mean...
No, in the whole world. That's just it. Like, no one...
Dive into family tales and explore the human mind with guests like Joel and Benji Madden.
And it's fun because we've decided to open it up, to really like all kinds of different siblings. And it's going to be an awesome season.
It's more than a podcast. It's a celebration of the ties that bind us. Listen to Sibling Revelry with Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
From the studio who brought you the #1 podcast, The Piketon Massacre, this is Murder 101.
A group of high school students started a project to research a string of unsolved murders.
Those murders happened in the mid-1980s.
He's out there doing stuff. He just didn't stop.
Everything that the students predicted through their profile turned out to be accurate.
Redhead killer profile.
Male, Caucasian, 5'9" to 6'2", 180 to 270 pounds. Unstable home, absent father and a domineering mother. Right-handed, IQ above 100, most likely heterosexual.
There is no profile of this killer except for the ones the students created.
Just because some of these women no longer have people to speak for them does not mean that they deserve to not be spoken for.
What if this guy's still alive? Like, what if he comes after us?
I said, are you going to kill me? And he said, yes.
Listen to Murder 101 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And now it's time for Lightning Round.
So here is our question from Goldie. She asks, what's a question or request you wish... You added that, didn't you? It's a question you wish your listeners had asked of you. And Jill has inserted or request.
No. That was in there.
That was in there?
That was in there.
Oh.
Or a request. And it got me thinking.
It's just in bold.
Yeah. Well, that was all there, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess maybe Goldie wanted this too.
I'll go first. A question or a request. I wish that our listeners had requested a pregnant dance video from Jen mostly because I love that. Yeah. I love watching pregnant women dance.
Girl, you missed it at the wedding this weekend.
Dang it.
Maybe Travis had gotten some video, but I don't think so. That was NSFW.
That's okay. There's still more time. You are a little over halfway through your pregnancy. And like the bigger you become, the better it's going to get.
Okay.
And I think you did potentially promise me this, but I know that you would more strongly deliver if our listeners had requested it. So there is still time to request a pregnant dance video. I feel like I've got like a list of 2 or 3 songs that I would want it to be too. But I'll let the listeners also request that too.
If you call in your bill and you also want to request a song,
it's always like for me, the standard needs to be like a hip hop kind of like break it down stank face while pregnant.
Yeah. I was at a friend's house who was at our party in April to celebrate our deal with iHeart and our however many downloads.
Yeah.
And, she was like, whenever I hear Big Energy, I think of you. And I was
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
You should.
All right. What's your question or request you wish listeners had asked?
The question I wish I'd got is, Jen, why do you love Publix tiramisu so much?
Just so you could explain more and expound upon it.
I had planned to look up like Publix tiramisu. We can do it in real time. Look, it's the first thing that comes up. I wonder if there are any like blog posts about how beautiful it is. There's definitely a YouTube review. Pinterest says, tiramisu, Olive Garden's is good, but I like Publix the best. And that says nothing.
Wow.
For it. But it is so creamy. And it is more moist than a traditional tiramisu. And I know, I'm sorry I use that word, but that's the best word to describe it.
And it's a good thing? It's like the good kind?
Yes. It's more like a tiramisu custard with some coffee and cake in it versus a cake with some mascarpone on it.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. So as you can see, if we
loves it too.
If we do a listener special, you're going to get Jen talking about Disney, Bill Curtis, and tiramisu. Like this is her core values.
Hey, at least I didn't get
her
into
radical middle and the things that are anchoring her. And we
Jill
just won't be able to not talk about that.
Me dancing while pregnant.
Yeah. You notice, until now, I haven't said a thing about gum.
You haven't.
Apparently, I'm not as dedicated to my things as you are to yours.
I guess.
Oh, well, thanks for being here. Thanks for, if you made it this far, wow, you deserve some tiramisu. And
yes, you do.
A prize. Well, we're going to give this prize to one of our listeners who also shared a review. We still love getting those 5-star reviews. This comes from Tiggity Fluff. That's fun. 5 stars. Delightful. I find this podcast to be so fun and approachable. I liked it initially, but it grew on me fast. And now I look forward to every new episode and have gone back and listened to past episodes as well. Wow, tiggity fluff. Jill and Jen are informative, fun, practical, and smart. They project a warmth that makes you feel like you're sitting down and chatting over coffee. The fun structure changes it up, so it isn't just one big long interview, which I love. Keep it up, ladies. Thank you, Tiggity Fluff.
Tiggity Fluff.
That's the kind of encouragement we like.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so kind.
And thank you all for listening, and for all of you who have left reviews in the past. If you want to keep leaving reviews for us that are nice and encouraging, we love that. They help potential listeners know if this is the show for them or not, because we aren't for everybody. And we always get a lot of searchers in January. So if you haven't left a review yet, this is the perfect time to let your fellow and future frugal friends know what they're in for.
Yes. So thank you for your reviews. We love reading them, and we will see you next time. Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Siriani.
Okay, Jen, for my very first paid salon haircut, what should I do? Should I chop it all off? Should I shave it?
Take an inch.
I had a dream last night. I'm just remembering this, that when I went into the salon, what they did, or the night before or something. No. Yeah. Before I went to the salon, I had like switched hair with someone, and the hair that I then now had after the switch was very coarse, super choppy and super short and super grown in roots. Like almost like halfway down the crown of my head was like super bleached blonde, and the other half was super, super dark. Again, very coarse.
It's usually the opposite
hacked up, like super choppy all over and very short. And I was pre-devastated because I knew I was about to pay a lot of money to go to a salon, and I wasn't giving them much to work with. Like it was already very short. Like what's more, what could they do with this? And I knew that it needed to now be dyed, because it was, and I've never ever done that before. Like I've not dyed. Like at one time I did my own box dyeing in college or something. And I knew that what I got, the woman probably wouldn't have time to dye my hair. It was like this very like realistic, unrealistic nightmare about, apparently I'm super worried about paying to get my hair cut in a salon.
Well, just don't switch hair with anybody before you go.
Yes.
That would be
and then like the switching of the hair made my face really greasy, so I started like breaking out everywhere. Oh my gosh.
Like the procedure they used to switch
I
your
guess
hair?
Or like because it wasn't my hair, my body wasn't used to it, so it was like clogging my pores. It was a weird dream. It's a really weird dream.
I'm so sorry you had that.
So I won't switch hair. I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow. Lesson learned. Won't switch hair with anybody. I'll give them mermaid hair to work with.
Yeah.
And we'll see what I come out with.
I tell my girl, Mariah, take an inch off. Or actually bare minimum. Because with curly hair, an inch goes a mile.
An inch is a mile.
Yeah. So I say, take as little off as you can. And she gets it because she has very curly hair.
I think I need like 6 inches gone.
I think you could do with 6 inches. Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
And it would still be considered a long haircut.
It would. This is exciting.
Oh, it's very exciting.
This is riveting.
I'm going to look like a new person.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
I won't recognize you. I'll find a new co-host.
My voice will be the same. Unless it's not. Unless I switch voices with people. My same hair, but a new voice. That'll be my new nightmare tonight.
Go listen to episode 140.
Discover the heartwarming and hilarious world of sibling connections on Sibling Revelry with Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson. Dive into family tales, explore the human mind, and laugh with guests like Joel and Benji Madden. It's more than a podcast, it's a celebration of the ties that bind us.
And it's fun because we've decided to open it up to really like all kinds of different siblings. And it's going to be an awesome season.
Listen to Sibling Revelry with Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Jacob Goldstein. I used to host Planet Money. Now I'm starting a new show. It's called What's Your Problem? Every week on What's Your Problem, entrepreneurs and engineers describe the future they're going to build once they solve a few problems. I'm talking to people trying to figure out how to do things that no one on the planet knows how to do, from creating a drone delivery business to building a car that can truly drive itself. Listen to What's Your Problem on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.